So you got this side against that side.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna do this, man. I'm getting that whatever. You were running 31s, in the 5 mile, whatever it was. I'm doing this.
We use Jiu-Jitsu for decision making, always to build confidence. It gives you confidence.
And you were to my left, and you said, this is why you joined the Army.
That you just, you see them one day, have a beer with them, think they're happy, and then a couple days later you get that call at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Regardless of your rank or anything else, just don't forget where you came from.
You're listening to The Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. I'm Bruno Fallon. I've spent my 4-decade career in some of the most elite units in the United States Special Operations community, where I learned that elite operators aren't made overnight. They're forged through hardship, discipline, and relentless drive. In each episode, I sit down with the most accomplished and innovative leaders in special operations, industry, coaching, and athletes of all disciplines. Let's jump right in. All right, everybody. Welcome back to The Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. The only way I could even describe what's sitting around me is this is the podcast. Every single person sitting here has been on the podcast in the past, and this is like my all-star edition. And to be honest with you, the wealth, knowledge, experience that is sitting here is kind of overwhelming. I think everybody knows everybody, but I'll be that guy. We've got Norm Hooten on my far right. We've got retired General Scott Miller on my immediate right. We've got Dutch Moyer to my left. We've got Royce Gracie, the legend, to his left. And then we got Pat McNamara, T-Mac, to the far left. It is such an honor to have this group here. And when we talked about it, the biggest question, and I think Scott was the one that said it, was how the fuck are you going to control this? So I said, we're not going to control it. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to start it right now. We have our good friend here, Norm Hooten from Hooten and Young. And we've taken this bottle of 12-year, which he happens to know is my favorite, and we've all signed it. And Norm is going to do the honors, and he is going to pour us all a glass. And we're gonna loosen up a little bit and talk about some good things. But while Norm's doing that, what I'd like to kick this off with, this is the format for this podcast. We all know we don't talk war porn on this podcast, but we all know we don't hold back. So this is going to be some shit talking, some fun talking, some poking the bear in the chest, and having a little bit of fun. But I'm going to put somebody on the spot right off the bat. He just said 30 seconds ago, look at these fucking guys. Why am I here? And he's the mixed martial arts world champion fucking guy that we look up to that brought combatives to the Army. So, Royce, you are more than welcome here.
I'm here just in case if you guys decide to fight.
Break it up.
That is topic one to me. If you look at the crew that is here, you realize that, and I know you did it on both the Navy and the Army side, but there's actually the guys sitting on this podcast that you started the Army Special Operations Combatives program with. I just saw a picture with this one, right? And didn't you have hair then?
Yeah, let's keep that out.
But T-Mac, I mean, you're instrumental in all that. Scott, you were, Norm, and all that. I mean, you guys want to kick off with talking about combatives in the military and how it really started out raw? And how when you walked in the team room, we put some big bullies on you. And
I think it was right after the first UFC that I got invited to come over, correct?
Yeah, it was after the first UFC, and then we had to delay it a little bit to the right, and then you came in and started working with us.
Because they saw that the first UFC was when we put it to the test, because it was one style against another. So
you against the world, you against Ken Shamrock.
That's when they saw
right.
it, and they're like, okay, let's bring him in. Let's see what he got. So first visit over there, they put me against the biggest guy in the room. I kind of had to choke him out for a second. And
Kind of choke him out.
it's like, anybody have any questions? They're like, nope, we're ready to learn.
So what was your guys' all impression when?
Oh, I remember it vividly, man. I was working at the time. We were looking at ways to kind of improve the combatives program. Guys down at B Squadron were doing the kickboxing thing. We were doing some different stuff. Guys in A Squadron were doing some stuff. And so we started working to figure out how we wanted to bring it all together. And I remember we brought in some SMEs. I won't name them, but we went through several. And at some point, I'm like, man, I don't know that we can't just do better by going down to the gym, working out, running, balling up our fists, and just swinging them harder and faster than the next guy. And then it was Ben Flores, a guy named Ben Flores, who was working with these kids. You got to look at these guys. And it was an old VHS tape, and it was called Gracie's in Action, or Valley Toodle maybe. And it had two guys in Speedos fighting, and I went, man, I said, is this a setup or something? But we brought them in, and it was in the winter, and they showed up at the front gate, and they were all bundled up, kind of like we were today. And Royce looked like he was about 15 years old, and I was like, oh man, these guys are getting ready to get it. And so we started training, and we were doing the same thing. Well, yeah, but you get out of his headlock, but try Joe Vega's headlock, or try this guy's try Matt's headlock. And at some point, the biggest guys. At some point, Horian goes, I get the feeling you guys are a little skeptical about what we're doing. He goes, I tell you what, line everybody up, and they'll roll with Royce. And I said, okay, what's the parameters? What are the rules? And he goes, no rules. Whatever you do to us, we can do to you. And so we settled on something that was similar to like UFC 1 rules. And within 30 minutes, everybody had tapped, and that was, the rest was history. Yeah, that was it.
It was a neat evolutionary process.
Okay, we got to learn this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know my experience, the expectation because I didn't know anything about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I think back then everybody was stand-up fighting. Everybody was a striker. There was no ground game. And he comes in and you're like, why do I need this? And then the game changed instantly, didn't it? I will say one thing. The last assignment I was at, I would say that we had more people injured on the mats than we did in combat. It got to the point where our guys could not take a wrap off and de-escalate, and they just kept amping it up and ended up hurting each other. So it was one of those that the ego never stopped.
But like Jiu-Jitsu, we always used to say, Hort and I would say, oh, it's to build confidence. It gives you confidence. I can't remember who told me from the building, said, Royce, we got plenty of confidence in here. We use Jiu-Jitsu for decision making. You get caught in an arm lock, in a choke, you got a fraction of a second to figure out which way, how to escape. So when we walk into a room, we have a fraction of a second to decide what to do. So Jiu-Jitsu help with the decision making for them. And I was like, man, I never thought of that way. But I like it.
You know, talking about team building earlier, Royce became part of the team as well. Running the O course, on the range, all that stuff. And he became kind of this integral component, to the unit. I just have a funny anecdote, man. Because I was bringing in some guys too, just tactical fighters, fighting kids and stuff like this. And one of them I worked with at another organization. And I liked some of the stuff that he had when I brought him over. I said, hey, with these guys here, if you sink a move, sink it to kill them. These are not the same people as you trained before. And sure as shit, he tried to choke out John Porter. Yep. And John stood up with him and walked around and was going like this. So credibility, shot. Just like that. Gone.
That's awesome. Royce, how old are you now?
59.
59.
Just turned 59.
T-Mac?
60.
60. We're the same age. Dutch? 61. So far, the old man. Scott?
64.
64. The old man. No, wait a minute. Norm?
65.
65.
I think I might have you.
All right. Well, hey, first of all, cheers to each and every one of you.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers, my friend. Cheers to each and every one of you.
Thanks for the whiskey.
Thanks for
too.
coming. Norm, thanks for the whiskey.
Good.
So, hey, open forum. We've been here. We're working with Dan Horner. We've been doing some shooting. I did a good job embarrassing myself today in the pistol. Cannot wait to move to the rifle. A little bit stronger there than apparently I was today. Good stuff, right? Like bringing Royce in. Everybody's been bringing in Dan for quite a while now too, and improving on shooting. So it's kind of a trend. Like as alpha as the guys are, and as good as the guys are, we find the people from outside the ranks and bring them in to make everybody better. And I think
That's the key with him anyway. So we talked about this earlier. You bring a culture. It's a culture shift. What'd you say? You brought some ballers in, you brought some stand-up guys in. You brought some guys with no credibility in, but you didn't know that. We didn't know that then. And then you bring in a guy like Royce and his family, and you build a culture change. And the same thing, how cool was it to be able to grab that expert and to say, come on in there and try to do this, whether it was Rob Latham or just one example there. But
I mean, you think about across the whole spectrum. We used to bring Mark Twight in. Guy was probably the best climber of extreme stuff out there. He did not take the easy climbs. And I remember specifically, we brought him in before CrossFit was a thing. And he came in with that whole Jim Jones program, and he kicked our ass. I mean, I was someone that was doing the kettlebell runs down up and down the beach and going into deadlifts, and I'd never trained like that. And I think that bringing him in pre-Afghanistan was genius, because the game changed in Afghanistan, going up the mountains, doing all that kind of stuff. Nobody was conditioned for that shit before then. So it's something that, I mean, I think this era pioneered it, you know, bringing people in to realize we're good, but there are better, right?
I thought it was it was a great atmosphere. Wasn't always agreeable. At times it was contentious. I mean, because everybody has, you know, when you're talking about combatives, it's a personal thing. It can become contentious if the guy thinks one way or the other way. And I can remember Mac and I had some pretty heated discussions over which way the program should go. But the cool thing about it is it all works out, because I think what they have now is a combination of stand-up and of the ground fighting, but it had to go through that process. And the coolest thing about it is that I think it evolved into what later became the Army Combatives program. Right?
It heavily influenced the Combatives program. You know that. Yeah.
And same on the Navy side. You started out there in San Diego. Those guys have the same story. I mean, you know, you work with those guys. I think it might have been, and I'm sorry, my Navy buddies, but I think they were attracted to Speedos more than anything. But, you know.
Yeah, I love it. But but we are
I will pay
smoking.
for
We
that
are
one.
smoking a Neptune Spear tonight in their honor. So
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah.
You guys all know I spent 14 years with those guys, and I love them all. Just a different service, but the
And
same
they're not here to
fucking
defend
mission.
themselves.
They're not here to defend themselves, so they got to be the target, right? So, hey, Scott, I got to ask you. You and I both did some guest speaking. We got Dutch talking tomorrow since we've been here. Two totally different topics. What do you think we should make Dutch talk about tomorrow?
You can't make me talk about anything. I want to talk about what I want to talk about.
I think he at least ought to touch on the gates at Thermopylae and
Nope.
and the
The whiskey,
Spartan.
No, we're not going back to the
the
Speedos.
whiskey bridge.
Yeah.
So I already already got the cat out of the bag.
What are you going to talk about?
I'm going to tell a story that's relevant to the collective as it is to military history. And it's based upon this.
I think I might know that story you're going to tell. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss that.
I'll bet you do know that story.
Yeah,
You
that's
should.
going to be a good one. Hey, Bruno, I want to tell you, you talked about you talked about the people sitting here. We focused on Royce early, and we talked about culture. We talked about fighting. We talked about a lot of things. You know, I'm not going to lie. It's pretty cool when someone goes, "Where'd how'd you start jiu-jitsu?" And I mentioned Royce and Horian, and you know, everyone just goes, "Whoa!" But it's more than just your trainer or your coach or something else. It evolved into a friendship, and obviously that's why he's sitting here. It's and as I talked about at lunch earlier today, I mean, it's a little time machine when you go back in here. Pat and I guess you and I met first, right? We met first, and I guess it's. What it'd be almost 34 years ago coming this spring. 34. But you can look at 3 decades of friendships, you know, built in service, and it's pretty cool to be sitting with this group. And you mentioned Daniel Horner, and I talked about him earlier as well. And you know, we've got some other good friends out here in the audience too.
And he can shoot.
Yeah, I love
well,
today.
He's world class.
I love today when he's doing the instruction. He goes, "Well, I'm just going to whip this one out," and I'm like, "That motherfucker's shooting everything within $50." I mean, I'm glad you're just whipping it out, Dan, because I'm going to be happy to get in that A zone today.
Yeah, he also during the walk back, he says, "I rarely win these walk backs because I can't remember the last time I won one." And I'm thinking to myself, no, you can't remember the last time you lost a walk back.
That's right.
That's he's being humble and showing his
humble
humility.
but hungry, right?
Yeah.
He can shoot and he can teach.
He can run fast.
I'm observing as an instructor, because you know how we think. There's no such thing as a good student or bad student. There's good teachers and bad teachers. If you don't learn, and I told him that last night, if I don't shoot well, it's your fault. He's like, really?
So I'm going to have, we're doing a second one of these podcasts tomorrow while we're at this spectacular event. Dan's going to be on it. It'd be me and Dutch and a whole other crew sitting in the wings here. and we're going to talk a lot about that kind of stuff. But the one thing that endeared me to him is when I first, so I talked to him at length, and I mean, I know he's always at the commands, and I'm like, dude, I really want to get you on the podcast, and he'd never done one. And so it's kind of funny because if you look at his confidence in shooting, the only time I saw where he was questioning himself was the podcast, and he fucking crushed the podcast to begin with. But you know how he gave the class and he's talking about the balloons? I'll tell you right now that when the podcast was over, we went another 30 minutes talking about the balloons, and it's the world's greatest analogy. It really is. If you think about, I don't care what your task is. We're talking shooting now, but you're talking business, you're talking anything. If you put the 50 tasks you have out there and you're talking about balancing the balloons and some being on the ground and some being up here, it really breaks it down into a methodical thought process. And I started using that on a lot of shit. And of course, I didn't want to say balloons because I didn't want everybody to know that I'd sat through Dan Horner's class, so I used something else. But no, it's going to be pretty awesome to have that group on here. But why I have this group on here? One of the things that I think is pretty cool is we've got a couple of sons out here while we're here. And this is, to me, like, I got to tell you, I wish my boy Shane was here because I wish he was with these two guys and it could just, Kate on and Noah and be like, hey, because they're all, I mean, it's kind of like, I really wish he'd been here to have this experience. And I'm apparently not that bright because I didn't even think about bringing him. And then when you guys said you're bringing your sons, I'm like, man, I'm missing an opportunity here. So kudos to you guys for doing that. Because the one thing I'll tell you, if I don't remember if you guys remember when you were early guys in the unit and you happened to be able to be sitting in a room past duty hours and there's 4 or 5 senior guys that are talking freely and you happen to be the fly on the wall. You think about what your 2 sons are being exposed to with this group right here, right? You think about some of the stuff we've been talking about off camera that we'll never talk about on camera, and they're hearing that. They know, I mean, we'll talk about your legend here, but most of us can't really talk about some of the things that we've done because it's just not the forum for it for us. It's not who we are.
And I'm a big fan of what you guys do, and
No, we know.
freedom. Keep the country alive and free.
That is how we became friends. You and I remember, I want to say it was Joby that introduced me to you at SHOT a couple years ago, 2 years ago, whatever. And I remember you from years back, just like these guys do, but I didn't have a close relationship like they did. You're just the guy that came in and mopped up the floor with everybody. And I just remember the first thing you told me was we were talking about freedom. We were talking about this, and I'm like, okay, this is not a guy that's been hit in the head too many times. He's my kind of guy. So, Royce, I think you're always going to have at the seat at this table because we know what kind of American you are in terms of, the freedom and everything. You're probably the biggest Second Amendment guy I know, to be honest with you. Yeah, honorary. Yeah, man.
It's a pleasure. It's an honor for me to know you guys and be able to witness a lot of your guys' training and be able to teach. You guys like machines. It's like, do it. Okay, done. They keep doing until I say, okay, enough, stop, go home now. It's like, there's no stop until the.
Yeah, I mean, this shooting, these guys will tell you this. This is a core task. It's what the units are built for. But if you look at all the tasks that surround to get the person to the target to pull the trigger, it's pretty insane what you have to be good at. I think Dan even mentioned it, talking about, am I going to be a good skydiver? Am I going to be a good, if you just look at methods of infiltration alone, you got to be a jack of at least, 10 or 12 of them. And in the units that we're talking of, you got to be the best. So it's one of those, everybody that's sitting here, in my opinion, I never understood why guys would enter SOF and not end up in JSOC. I just never understood why you didn't want to go be the best. And that was something I've always struggled with when I meet somebody. I love them, they went, but I'm always like, well, why didn't you go to that level? So I don't know if you guys feel that way. Like, there's plenty of good dudes out there, but don't you think that if you'd have never done it, you'd felt like you didn't take that step?
I mean, I think I was always, and like most of the guys, naturally curious about, even, from the time I was a young kid, about what's out there, what's next. And some people are satisfied doing what they're doing. I know when I was in 5th group, they had awesome guys there, man. I mean, and was very lucky to be there under some of the greatest warriors from Vietnam, were some of my initial team sergeants and teammates and stuff like that. So I think timing has a lot to do with it, but I was just very curious about what I was hearing, what was going on, the next great thing, and was glad I did it. But I don't know, Scott.
No, I think you're right, timing, and you know, I had a really good look at the entire special ops enterprise. It's as a whole, it's just super impressive. I mean, I watched SF, Special Forces teams. You know, they carried a heavy burden throughout Iraq and Afghanistan. They were kind of a mainstay there. So, but I agree. It probably timing, or they just like what they do.
Exposure, you know. I mean,
And the whole the one thing I did love about Special Forces, and I know you and I talked about it from your group time, is that it correlates to what I gave the little professional development on today with team building and all that. One thing I'll tell you that SF does better than anybody is the whole nation building and getting in with our partner countries and their soft and creating those relationships that open doors. And that's something you just don't see in our units because you're more the spear. So,
But I've seen them be the spear a lot too. I mean, that's just important we get, because they've, you know, they hit hard too.
yeah, they do.
Yeah, there's times where you can't forget about conventional units. How much heavy lifting they did in both wars.
and don't get a lot of credit, man. I'm telling
No,
you,
you
these
really
guys.
don't, because all the soft guys have a lot of the spotlight. They really do.
Probably too much in some cases.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So quick points. It is about timing. I really believe that's about timing. It's also about comfortability. Dan talks about that in his professional development speech, whatever you want to call it, sports psychology. You know, people get comfortable and they stay there. In addition to that, so when I was a Ranger and I made the jump to light speed in 1999, I kind of felt bad. I didn't want to let my boys down. I was leaving. I had to leave them, right? I had to find out for myself what was the next level of professionalism I could go to. Point number 3, I think you hired Dan because of his boyish good looks.
Does
he ever age?
He doesn't age.
Look at
I don't even know. Dan's actually sitting off camera because he's trying to get some intel on what I might be serving up tomorrow, and it's gonna be a completely different ball game. This is we're going from contact sports to straight hockey tomorrow. So
Dan, wherever you are, just remember that he can't make you do whatever you don't want to do.
I love it. I love it. So let me ask you fellas, this group that's assembled here, I'm a facilitator. Is there anything anybody'd really love to talk about? Look at the group here. This is pretty awesome. We've off camera talked about some really cool shit, and I'm not talking about shit we've done on Target together, or whatever. I'm talking about just life shit. You know, I know for a fact, Pat and I on our last podcast, we're both almost the same age at 60, and we're both huge fitness addicts. And probably our biggest thing, the biggest feedback I got on our podcast was us slamming all the 40-year-olds that are talking about longevity and fitness when you're old.
Those guys tick me off.
Yeah,
man.
I know they do. Because that's not old. 40 years old, all of us were still, I mean, we're all still on target at 40 years old. And
Yeah.
you ain't old yet.
No, man.
So
You're prime at 44 to 48.
Did we talk about that today? I think we did, right? We
Yeah,
touched on that a
today
little bit.
too. Yes. Yeah. Your 40s
40,
are your best years.
I'd love to be 40.
oh my God, I'd kill you at 40. 40's the best.
I'd love to be 40. That kills me. That's good. Yeah, 40. What I say, 40 to 50. You say
40,
40 to
50.
48.
Yeah. 44 to 48.
That was a wonderful time for me. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
When you say wonderful in terms of,
Oh, job, work, the war's going on, right? Everything's amazing. I was healthy, fit. I could do whatever I wanted. Yeah.
so how old were you in 9/11?
I got to do math
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
How
That's
61.
2001 for
2001, so 24 years ago. I'm 61. Quick math, 40.
You're in your 30s.
38, 38. 38
I was going to say
39.
37, but that's
37?
okay.
So
Yeah.
I attribute your best years of your life to what a lot of us do, is the pace of that war.
Oh.
I mean, I'll just for me, I've never done drugs, but I have done a drug, and that drug was that war. I got addicted as a flight lead to the point where they had to tell me to go home.
35.
I mean, You got to admit, when you train for something your whole life and you finally it comes, and it was, I mean, we all know we were built in a force that was designed to go somewhere, do something really fast, really hard, and come back home and celebrate, right? Go lift weights. And we were not designed in the units we were in for a sustained fight. I can tell you the unit I was in was definitely not designed for it. We did not have the wheels for it, the bodies, anything. And to me, to a man, I don't think there was a single guy 5, 6 years in that wasn't like, this is everything I came here for. I mean,
Quick anecdote. I believe you were a commander in one of the Saber squadrons. Right? And I was an OTC. And you were also you were the S&T commander when I was going through selection. And I was in the dining hall. I don't know if you remember this or not. But so typically, right, nobody gets talked to. So out there, you folks, typically students don't get talked to. You can get the hello and how are you kind of thing, but that's about all you get. Nobody wants to talk to you.
They don't get talked to nicely.
Correct. And you're not a maggot like a Marine or anything like that, but there's just, like, you're in training, don't talk to me until you get done with it. And we were in the dining hall, and I was kind of standing by myself at the, get your food section, whatever, and you were to my left, and you said, this is why you joined the Army. You will find that this is why you joined the Army, this place right here. And I was like, roger that.
It's
Completely
stuck.
correct.
Yeah, well,
It's stuck.
but I think also we're talking about the time period 2001 to 2021. There are a lot of stuff that brought us together, but there was some heavy lifting that left some, people still carrying that load post the fight. And again, going back to what we said earlier, the special operations community will get, either credit or notoriety, whichever one it's as you lay it out there. But a lot of conventional forces too. So you have so you had some goodness in there, but at some point too, the pace you were running, and at some point you have to get off the gas there. And
You're right. You have to be told. A good
just,
commander.
you have to recover a bit.
And guys like you, I just specifically remember there was I'm trying to think. So General Daly went out, General McChrystal came in. General McChrystal kind of changed the fight completely on how we were doing it. And he came over to Afghanistan, and we were on the big hunt. And we did a surge, something like called Winter Strike or something like that. And we flushed everything over there to go after some HVIs, big ones. And I specifically remember I'd been there for about 120 days. And he pulled me in his office, and he goes, I really need you to go take a break. You're getting worn out. However, I'm getting ready to surge the force, and I need you for 60 more days. And I'm like, so am I going home or am I staying? He goes, you're staying until I tell you to go home. And that turned out to be 70 more days. And I can tell you that he had to come tell me to go home. And that was a good leader to me, because you could see it. I was just done. The pace we rolled at. One thing that nobody understood, and this is not to go on a 160th rant, but you can get it. You go to fucking Bagram, you go to Balad, you got all you want. You know what I mean? But that pace, it really grinded people. It really, and I used to have to tell commanders and stuff. They're like, dude, are you that short flight leads? I'm like, we're that short flight leads. It was something that we could not replenish because we didn't have the ability to train people. We didn't have the machines at home. And I think that organization paid the man the most in the long run, because we had two distinct purges. And I was at 20 years when 9/11 hit, and I went another 10 years. And at the pace as an MH-47 flight lead, that 10 years felt like 20. And I know, I mean, you saw it. You saw in the time you were in command, just the seniority and just the change. And I could go back to that organization now and don't know a single person there, because everybody's done. Everybody's moved on. There's just nobody hanging on anymore. So that's what do they call that? The long-term effects of battle. There's a really good book about it, but about how you have to recock and recycle everything. And essentially, that some of the organizations, if you go right now, I think it was you and I having this conversation. If you go look now, how many guys are in the units that have a lot of overseas experience? It's minimal. It's your very senior leaders and nothing below them, because it has had that much of an effect on guys where the mission's gone, I'm done. So did you see a lot of that too?
I don't see it as much. Obviously, I'm retired as well, but you know, I've heard that there's this for those who didn't get to experience some of the tempos, some of the routine deployments. I think there's people that feel like they missed out on the fight. When I talked to them, I said, listen, you know, just get ready, just be always ready. I'm not sure you missed out on the fight quite yet, but yeah, there's that, and then there's this when we're not. The op tempo is not high enough. It's not dangerous enough for me, and so I think there's some of that. But I think the organizations are largely holding pretty strong. I mean, I don't think that they're worse than we, you know, now that we've left.
No, I just think
they're
it's
better.
a lot of youth. I think that they're probably, and to me, the way I try to explain to the guys is that I think the units are back now where they were around pre 9/11, and the reason I say that is my first 20 years, what we changed in tactics and what we changed in equipment, we changed that much in the first 3 years of the war. What we did in 20 years, we changed in 3 years. And I just think that when you have all the people leave and the way technology is coming in nowadays, I mean, I couldn't even probably sit in op order nowadays and understand the use of drones the way it's so prolific right now. So, I mean, I just think the game is changing. I think the days of the Bruno and the T-Mac with a fucking, you know, a Viking swinging a ball and a chain are gone. I think you better have a guy that knows how to run 2 different types of computers at one time.
Yeah, they got to know a lot. Here's this thing I want to say. We always know. I mean, it's as old as history is. Experience bleeds off eventually. I mean, that's what just happens. And I think if you kind of talk about pre 9/11 days, you know, certainly there were lessons learned during the fight, but we thought we didn't think we were too bad pre 9/11. We were in the business of learning and trying to understand. I think what the key is that when you kind of I look around this group, especially, it's are you able to convey lessons in a way that current generations will listen, and most of the times they will listen, and you know, will they pick it up? And then we just have to acknowledge, Bruno, just like you said, technology is changing parts of this battlefield in ways that none of us have that experience.
That's right.
It's different, and so they're fighting it a little bit different. Not a little bit, but a lot different fight than we are.
But while that's true, the necessity for someone to take and hold ground always comes back to the infantryman. It comes back to the man with the sword, the shield, the pole, axe, the spear, whatever. If you want to hold ground and take it and hold it, you're going to have
You have to have a
do
body.
it.
Yeah. You have to have bodies on the ground.
But they're still training today. The fighters today, my God, they know the black belts in jiu-jitsu. They're professional kickboxers, karate guys. They know the stand-up. They know the wrestling. They know the jiu-jitsu. They combine their pro. You want to wrestle? Let's wrestle. You want to stand up? We stand up. You want to grapple jiu-jitsu? Let's go. It's like they can do all.
But none of that would have happened without somebody being the first to do it.
But I'm
guys,
just
your family.
comparing like the guys today in the service. They are training. The training didn't stop. I'm assuming.
Now, the
they're
technology
learning,
today,
the technology, and
Scott alluded to it. I'm still very close to the community because we all are, but I still do quite a bit with these guys, and the stuff they're talking about technology-wise in the last 2 years is leaps and bounds changing on what the operator has to do. The one thing that is interesting that I think is that I think when we all started out, we were expected to be the tech guys. We knew how to run every radio. We knew how to carry. It was literally usually always an operator carrying everything. And then we started getting all the guys going with us that were specialty guys that could do different things. The one thing it sounds like is going on in the community is they're getting back to the guys having to know all this new type of equipment. And that's pretty wild for me, because I'll tell you if you're, and I don't think our community ever has this, but if you're the slow motor guy that can't keep up here with what you can do here, you're not going to make it.
But the new generation, the kids today, you guys have kids, they're watching TV, doing homework, listening to music. It's like, dude, I'm going to change the channels. No, I'm watching, Dad. I go, dude, you haven't lifted your head up. what's going on, and they tell me exactly what's going on in the movie without even looking at the movie, but while they listen to music and doing homework. It's like they're much more wired differently today.
Here's something I heard, just so your listeners out there can kind of know, I think where we all stand. It's I'll speak for myself here. I look at this generation that's coming up, and I watch them do things that I wish I could have done. And I heard something. I think it was either Bill Garrison or Pete Schoonmaker. We're referencing Dick Meadows, and he said, the Army's never as good as it once was, and it never has been. And I just think you need to remember that we're the older guys looking back. But these guys, the current generations, I think it's pretty tough.
It is, and they're extremely smart. And you pay attention to what they're doing. It's skill levels that are just mind-boggling compared to learning the 4 principles of trolling and shit like that. You know what I mean? So
I'm going to stick a monkey in this wrench. Are they anywhere near as hard?
Right.
I
Battery
agree
operated, bro.
that
Battery operated.
your girl, some other girl might be, my kid might be able to do 3 things at one time. And in the end, you could probably do 3 things at one time too, as you enter and clear and see that happening over there, and then collapse your sector of fire, et cetera, et cetera. But there's no way. Sorry. They're just not. They don't go outside as often, right? There's not. You have to build a new culture in some of these. You see it in law enforcement training. You see it in the military training I do. You see it all over the place. Yep. A young man just came back from the 18 X-ray program. He was successful in his selection, and he was like, the kids. He's older. He's 33 or something like that. He said, all the problems, all the kids in the pipeline. Can't even walk to the latrine, right? Instead, they go to the stairwell and piss in the stairwell. They're not going that far. He said he was just unbelievable. He said it was shock to him. So
I think what Scott said though, I think there's still a ton of badass dudes out there. You see it in the fighting community. I honestly see it with some of the operators on the beach that I know and stuff. I just think they're fewer and far between. There are more of the, whatever you want to call it, the low T nation. But I will say that at least our community still draws the right ones. I mean, that's the one thing is that.
Well, there's a selection process. And again, so we talk about this, a couple other professionals I know on social, we talk about this. There's no selection process for instance, law enforcement officers. There's not really any. There may be some agencies out there, don't hold me that. There's some agencies out there, I'm sure, that have some sort of selection process. But for the most part, there isn't. Yeah. And they need people. And they get people that are just they're not right.
Subpar.
Yeah, I hear it, but I will say I still think there's a bunch of badass dudes out there and a bunch of hard men. But I will say culturally, I used to give a professional development to the green team guys where I was at last, and I gave 3 classes. One was actually the history of the major command, just because of how long I've been around. I could talk about it. One was TF 160, and then one was a mission planning thing before they went their final FTX. And I would always ask the youngest guy and the oldest guy to stand up in the class. And my message to them always was, and I realized it was semi-flawed, is that I told them that there's not a single guy in the audience that is harder than me, but every single one of them is smarter because of the new technology and the new age. And that if they could use that to leverage what I can make up in brawn, that's okay. But if they didn't have the other, when times get really tough, you can't use technology to get out of that. And they got that message. And every one of those guys would come up to me later and be like, because they're getting their nuts crushed and, monster mashes and all that kind of stuff. And they'd be like, no, I see what you're saying. And then they would get to the units where it was harder and they would figure it out real quick.
Well, you brought your boy. You mentioned there's badasses out there. Let's create a place where we can bring them in and even not necessarily from men like Norm or Royce, but other men that say, well, I need that third party evaluation and say, I need some hard guys. What did you say earlier? They sit around and listen to these unbelievable conversations, right? let's create that. Let's get some guys in here, some young men, some guys that want their young men to be better, stronger, faster, more capable, and not technological stuff.
You know, I tell every parent that asks me, they're like, where do I send my son for discipline? I say 75th Ranger. I said, there's no better school. There's no better place. You want to turn a man around, send him there, because it worked for a bunch of people sitting here.
Totally agree.
So, right? I mean,
Yeah, I mixed opinions on that. So the guys that were in World War II said the same things about the guys in Korea, and the guys in Korea said the same thing about the guys in
that's what
Vietnam.
Scott already said, right?
And
so
I remember when I was
the Army's never as good as it
and
was.
I was on the A team, and I was a new guy, and not all, but a lot of my teammates have been to Vietnam, and they were saying the same things about us. And so I look at it like this: you hope and pray that the next generation is better than you, and maybe they might be, and that's great, because if they're not, shame on us.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's on us.
Because we're the guys that are supposed to. We have the shoulders they're supposed to stand on, and I have some comfort in knowing that I have 3 sons that have all served, and I got to hang out with some of their peers. There's some good men out there, really good men.
Yep.
And but they grew up different, and different's not always bad.
Oh, it's not always bad.
And,
I'll monkey wrench with Dutch, though. The thing is, yes, this generation said it about this generation, said it about this generation, but there were still men who were perspicacious, right? So nowadays, we are devolving rapidly, right? What's that?
Gesundheit.
Yeah, we are devolving rapidly, right? So we are slipping further and further away from our primal being at a rapid rate, and most of it's because of technology. If you look at how the way I could describe today's youth is slight. They're slight. They're meek. They're flaccid. They're button pushers. 45-degree syndrome. So it's an upbringing thing. But yeah, I hope for the best, but I don't share you guys' optimism.
So you got this side against that side.
Yeah.
If you guys like to fight, I'll jump in, okay?
Because you think that your young boy out there might be a little bit tough too, right? He's not.
My kids are tough.
Yeah, he's not meek. So I'm just saying. I think.
but you sent him to the Ranger Regiment.
My daughter, okay, called me up. I'm in the middle of a seminar. She called me up. I didn't pick up, so I saw 3 missed phone calls from her. So I told my son, Connor, I was like, hey, hold the class. I got to see what's going on. Middle of the day, daytime. So I go outside the place and call her back, and she's like, Dad. I was like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah, Dad. Have you ever done pepper spray? I was like, yeah. How bad is it? I was like, not that bad. I asked the cops to spray around my face and my eyes. I was like, why? I bought one. I'm going to do it. I was like, I didn't say don't do it. My thing is, why? I just want to know why. And she's like, I just want to see how it feels, and I want to be able to look at people and say, I did something that you haven't done it yet. Okay. I was like, go for it.
Did you watch?
Make sure to film it for me, please. She sent me a video. She did it. She asked her friend to spray her on the face. She's like, yeah, it's not that bad, Dad. It was okay. I was like,
It's like back when we got tasers. You had to tase yourself.
Right.
Gracie
Right.
they all did. All my kids done got tased,
Yeah, they got tased.
including her.
I think we call it the Gracie way.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, do you all choke each other out, or how's that?
We're built different. It's like we got a little problem there. So they all got tased, by the way, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Gotta get tased.
That's so funny. I completely off the rip, but I just want to see what it felt like. I got a story. Damn it, man. It just reminded me, Craig Maxim. Everybody? Yes, right, everybody. I don't know, one of the buildings, one of the mazes, and squadron coming in. At the time, I was in ops, just had knee surgery and back surgery. So I'm backsiding and op foreign. And guys are coming in. I hear helos, and I know they're roping, and I look out from behind cover, and Maxim's standing like this right in front of primary breach. And I'm going, Max, what are you doing? He goes, I just want to see what eating a triple strand feels like.
Oh my God.
And he did. Boom! I mean, he was, just 5 feet from it. And he did. It was interesting. You know, it was like porcupine.
That's the
different.
Yeah, right.
that's the magic why question.
Eventually, you're going to eat a charge, though, anyway. So.
Yeah, I got it, but and now we all know what that does to us.
What was wrong with
Right.
Max? Oh, don't even start there.
Yeah.
I can't. I can't hear you right now. I got
Right.
tinnitus.
Right. Oh my
My
God.
heart's torn apart from all
Just wanted
the Carl Gustav shots,
Right.
or whatever else, whatever all the crazy crap they do. How about the subterranean breaching? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Where's that
right.
pressure going?
Right. Yeah.
Right in your face.
Right in your face. Hey, open your mouth though.
No.
Remember, open your
Yes.
mouth.
Open your
Remember
mouth and
that?
exhale.
You remember
Yes.
that? Open
Just
your
open
mouth.
your mouth and exhale.
Yeah.
You'll be
The
good.
first time you get behind a 50 and they're like, well, what about all that back pressure? Open your mouth. I'm like, this doesn't fucking sound right.
You know, that's another thing too. I mean, man,
You sure this
complete
next
disregard
generation's not a
talking
little
about
bit better off?
They're way better.
Yeah.
They're a little smarter.
complete disregard for one's own safety. We're knuckleheads, like Norm was talking about, you know, hands here and solvent, you know, washing your gun parts and 3 triple strand opposing breaches in a small hallway, or I shot 15 Carl Gustav rounds in 5 minutes one night.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody the other day,
What do they tell you later on? You can only shoot 2 a week.
2 a week. Yeah.
What? What?
I went through the 18B course with foamies, and you're shooting
Oh my God.
120 millimeter mortar, freaking 106 recoilless rifles, 90s, and you're wearing fucking foamies. And they're like, well, why do you have a hearing issue?
John Kevin and I were talking about. Hey, he said, oh, I got my lead levels tested because I go, why? And we're changing the pedals on the Texas Star.
Yep.
Right, and your hands are in the lead, your hand on the lead, and I said, why would you ever do that? Why would you test yourself for lead? Let's go have some barbecue. No, it's all over the place.
It's like 6-7 years ago when the lead soap started showing up at the beach in the bathrooms. I'm like, what's that all about? And we got the whole class on it. I'm like, well, this is 37 years too late.
Yep.
I mean, this is great that they're doing it for these guys, but what about me when I'm eating my Pop-Tart in the corner alone? You know what I mean? So
HC smoke in the building. Well, you name it. Just go on with it.
hey, so you mentioned tinnitus. I'll tell you, all the stuff we've done, that nothing banged my head worse than that 47 time. I'll tell you right now. But I have gone through more testing for tinnitus, and I just got hooked up with a guy named Dr. Kurt Parsley. Had him on the podcast. He is the one that brought. So first of all, he's the one that brought hormone therapy to the military. He's the one that brought plant medicine to the military. Guy has been. He was a SEAL operator and then became a MD. He was a SEAL medical officer that was running a hyperbaric chamber and got into hyperbaric medicine. He's been a doctor for 30 years. He swears, and I'm set up for it. He swears that there's a way now that they can put stem cells above the bridge of your nose, and it's 97% cure for tinnitus. So stand by. As people that listen to my podcast always hear me say, stand the fuck by. I tell you right now, people ask me all the time, of all your injuries, if you could get rid of one fucking thing, it would be this banging in my ears. So I'm so excited about this.
So you have a banging.
Dude, my ears never freaking come off.
So I heard some other guy the other day told me it was like a wave of. Mine's a constant. That's all it is.
And what's crazy is that environmental things with me. I can't go to rock concerts anymore. The next day I can't stand myself. Quiet rooms are not good. I need white noise. I need a fan. I need something. It's just. Yeah, I mean, do you guys all have it? I mean, it's. I had it bad, but all the 47 time, and it rings your bell. That thing never is quiet, and you're sitting under the Ford transmission. So, yeah. So something I want to talk about. All right, tomorrow we're gonna go out. We're gonna shoot some rifle shooting, and then some of us have to leave tonight, and we're gonna be breaking apart and everything. So what is the next plan to put this band together, and what's the mission? What are we going to take the power of this 6 people here and turn it to something good? What are we going to do?
For me, it's just an invitation, man. I love to hang out with you guys. Tell me the day, the location, the time and place, and I'll be there.
Don't you think we could take the knowledge and the power and the audience that's here and do something productive with it? So that's my charter to you guys, is like, what can we do that's a task worthy that we can put our heads to and fix something, I think this guy had to give us the idea, and we had to march.
No, I mean, Bruno, it's showing up. We all get busy, um, you know, because Chris, I don't know how long it's been since I've seen you. It's been a couple of years.
19.
What's that? That's the last time.
19 at the hotel.
2008. Okay. Hoist, maybe a year or two since we stay in touch.
No, I saw you on your. I saw you in your retirement ceremony.
Okay.
Forgot
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. We went out to the farm, right? Yeah. But you know, and Mac, I mean, I was pretty excited because
Yes.
we crisscross, we miss each other, but I do believe that this is something we ought to work on. Norm and I get together a little bit more frequently.
You guys want to be a shot show, right?
We'll be a shot show.
Yeah. What, unless we invite you out for something other than shot show. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
He's in the, we've had this conversation. He is and I'll be honest with you, we had this conversation that if I wasn't running a business with a major booth at shot, I'd probably never go back to shot either. It's just, I hate to say it, but 75,000 people that come through, and 1,000 of them are real business people, and 74,000 are just people that are coming there to look, feel, touch, and get free swag, and not there to do what shot is based on. So
Well, plus it's just a lot of people.
it's a lot of people, and
Friends. That's,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the cool part.
well, I like it because I see more people in industry that are buddies. You know, and of course it's about the customers. That's why we're there. But I like walking around and meeting people in industry and going, what can we do together? You know, especially when you see, you know, I'll run into a Dutch and I'll be like, I did not know you were with L3. What are you doing? Let's go. A Dutch. The Dutch.
So I had an idea back in the day where consummate professionals would take their podcast, if you wanted to call it that. I didn't think about a podcast back then, and they'd take it on the road and invite other consummate professionals, and there's a celebration there, of course, sure, but there's also workshops or something like that, and you rent a bar or you rent a location that's a bar and grill or something, and then you have, or maybe it's a brewery, distillery. Oh, a distillery. But something like that, and then you produce your show and make a difference in the community or those folks there, and we could raise money, suicide prevention, mental health stuff for veterans, whatever.
So the biggest net gain this podcast has had, believe it or not, I love having community guys on here. I love having industry people on here, but my specialty is human performance people. And I love having people on for human performance. And I'm getting these text messages and DMs. I had a police sergeant that, matter of fact, I think it was you and I was doing some fat shaming. And this guy, I mean, anybody that knows me knows that I'm intolerant to it. So it is what it is, right? Your body's your temple. But this guy said that something I said to you on the podcast hit a trigger. And he took 8 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever it was, and righted himself. He says he lost 27 pounds. He was a team leader SWAT sergeant. And he said he went from being borderline kicked out of SWAT to being the man again. And that it was just some words that I said on a podcast. So I have gone out of my way to find people in human performance, mental health, and all. I'm very concerned about, and this was our conversation, I'm very concerned about the operators, and I hate to say it, but how many guys we're losing to reasons that we shouldn't be losing people. And so that's become my platform. And that's what I want to try and fix. And I think if you have an objective with a podcast, and to be honest with you, anybody that's heard my story, I wanted nothing to do with a podcast, but it was something that I was asked to do, and I was told I'm good at it. I don't know if that's true, but I will say that if you choose an objective, and mine is to keep guys from eating a gun, tell people to check their body, increase human performance, I think my biggest platform right now, that is, if you're in the U.S. military, if you're law enforcement, if you're a first responder, and you strap on a gun, you strap on a badge, and you're incapable of doing your job because you're out of fucking shape, that's my message: is fix that. You're in the wrong job. And the response is overwhelming. Our viewership because of that message is so positive from people, and I use the term fat shaming, but it's health shaming, and sometimes people need to be told it. Sometimes somebody needs to be poked in the chest. He does it all the time, and it works, right? And you can do it with skill.
It's easy to have a positive influence on somebody's trajectory.
Right.
It's very easy. It's about saying the right thing to the right person at the right time, the right way, you know. But it's very easy to change that trajectory and put them on a better path to health, wellness, fitness, all that stuff. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and I know Norm, you've been on 2 or 3 times. I can't remember now.
2, I think.
2.
Yeah, for sure.
And I tell you, we spent the best part of half an episode talking about the loss of life we're seeing in operators, and I expanded it to first responders because of the fucking stresses that guys are put on. And you know, and I think within the community, you know it. You know that the divorce rate is high. You know that the letdown of the mission's gone. You know, when people leave the service and they unfortunately lose the brotherhood because they allow themselves to get away from it. All these things that make people all of a sudden crash is the term I use. And we've all gotten the calls. We've all lost a lot of buddies. And to me, the crazy thing is how many guys that we've all lost that we're like, never that guy. Never like I would sit here right now and be like, never that guy. But I've said that, and then that guy has done it, and you're like, how do you know? So I guess my message, and going on a tangent here, is check your buddy. It fucking matters, and it's the right thing to. Well, we talked about team building and leadership today. Like, if you haven't heard from somebody in a long time, and you reach out, and the message you get back is it doesn't even seem like the same guy anymore, there's a fucking problem there. That person is on the path. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I know you are very well versed in it. So.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the one of the things about our community is they don't threaten; they just do it.
Right.
You know, and you can see them, you know, one day, and they seem like they're okay, and then you hear bad news over the weekend. So it's a matter of staying, you know, kind of in tune with them as a person, and seeing the subtle shifts in their behavior that do it. But you know, there's some people who will threaten suicide several times, maybe never do it, and then but ultimately end up doing it. But that's not our guys. You know, that you just you see them one day, have a beer with them, think they're happy, and then a couple of days later you get that call at 2 o'clock in the morning. So it's just a matter of staying in touch with each other and kind of being able to read your friends.
Yeah, there's those indicators. I recently had somebody I'm very close to that was like me, and I want to explain this. I think suicide's very selfish because you just hurt everybody around you, right? And it is I hate to say it, when you check out and you're willing to do that, you've checked out, right? But we all know people that get so mentally crashed that I actually understand some of these guys that are doing it. And I recently had a buddy that feels the exact same way that I do towards it, that he looked at me and he goes, I understand now why guys contemplate it. And I'm like, we need to talk.
Right.
Why would he say that?
Because you shouldn't
Why
be
would
able
he
to
say
understand
that?
it.
Why would he say
Right.
that? And I was like, we need to talk. And we had it, and I fucking opened that onion up, and I realized this guy was thinking about it. And it's just, so those are things you got to pay attention to, you know. And I hope to never see it again, but we're going to see it. It's just like, I hate to say it, but we're all getting to the age too. We're starting to lose guys from fucking cancer and this, that, and the other too. Those I can live with. Yeah. I mean, but those
Dude,
I can.
yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
Mike
all-
Welch. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, a great buddy of mine, former First Ranger Battalion, 5th Group guy, A Squadron guy. Did you know Mike? Yeah, I mean, Mike and I started out together, and you went through the Q course, and Mike and I paralleled each other the whole time. Give you a quick Mike thing. Mike was 1st Ranger Battalion, 5th Group, went to the Q course with Norm. Then he was in A Squadron. Then Mike got out and went to college. Mike came back in as a aviator, and so I didn't see Mike after Special Forces. And then all of a sudden, I am in the unit at the 160th, and in comes Lieutenant Welch. We got a brand new platoon leader, and it's Mike. So he'd been in every fucking unit there was. When we came off the Kitty Hawk and went to the Philippines to do a hostage rescue, and my wingman went in the drink and my CO got killed, Mike flew out and was my commander. That was his last job, was my CO, my best friend. I truly believe his heart exploding was due to the COVID vaccine, because the dude was in shape. And I just totally, I will tell you everything that I know about it. But it's one of those where I'm like, when a guy like that dies, that fitness level, I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, holy fuck, what's next? So, we all have them, right?
Yep. I don't want to beat that grim horse to death, but the last guy we lost in our peer group, I was in a bad place, and I told my wife, I said, I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. And she said, you're not supposed to. And I went, yeah.
No, that's a
Because there's a wiring there, right? So there's a disruption between the neuroreceptors. And the other thing is, somebody told me this, and just keep it in the back of your head. A shrink told me this. One of the indicators, and this 2 people, and since then, I am backstopping it. But 2 people that I know, the day before, they reached out and just said hi to people, text. They're elated, they're happy, because they know what's going to happen. So the last guy who reached out like that, I showed that text to my wife, and I went, I'm calling this guy. She said, yep.
but you got to know what to look for, and you apparently did.
I didn't before that. So
Yeah,
we've
we've got
just a sign and symptom. Just keep it in the back of the data bank for future reference. If you have that guy who you haven't heard from in freaking 10 years, and he's reaching out to you and several other people and saying hi.
So let's turn away from that. So let's talk about something we mentioned, SHOT Show. So one of the things I want to bring up here and change 90 degrees is so we are having our typical booth at SHOT Show, and this is kind of cool. For those that don't know it, we're sitting here at the Sawmill, and I don't know if that banner's in sight or not for Almar Knives or the backdrop over there, but the same ownership of Sawmill owns Almar Knives, and we partnered up with them. And I'll let the cat out of the bag, because this podcast is going to air the week before SHOT Show, just so everybody's tracking. But they asked me to design a fighting knife and a hatchet, and did that for Almar, and Joby is in here somewhere. And for anybody that wants to get a badass fighting knife and a hatchet that's American made, American steel, come to the Born Primitive and Almar Knives booth at SHOT Show, and we will have it in a glass fucking case. And it has a Born Primitive logo on the handle as well. And I guarantee you, for those that like fighting knives and hatchets and want to do stuff that way, you got something pretty special coming. And that's how we're introducing them truly into the tactical arena, is with that. And I will tell you, for those that are going to ask, the hatchet will fit under your plates, in case you happen to want to carry one. But I'm just saying, if you're one of those guys. But
Just if I'm walking down the street.
well, they're really good on locks. That's all I'll say. They're really good on locks. But no, it's a partnership we've formed. We're going to be at SHOT together, Venetian main floor, and it's kind of fun because, again, I'm a relationship guy, and we've worked with a lot of knife companies, but Almar is who got us into SHOT and the location we're at. They've been there for, Joby, you in here? 30 years? I don't know how long. But they've been on that floor for, Almar Knives has been around, the original shear knife, trademarked. So they've been around for 30 years, and we essentially took that spot and still have them in there with us. But it's a great partnership, and it's going to go pretty far. It involves the Sawmill. And so anybody that wants to come see us. And you guys are going to be all out at SHOT, right? Doing your stuff. Drinking and smoking. Oh yeah. So by the way, speaking
Smoking cigars.
So speaking
who's
of
gonna be the first?
speaking of drinking and smoking, Norm, if you want to come by SHOT Thursday at 1:00, when I drop the 3 kegs of beer there, you can bring something better that we'll drink. So hell yeah. Dutch is going to be there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know we're going to have some of the Sawmill crew out there. We'll have you, Eric, Joby. So
Sean's coming up.
yeah, so John, so a lot of the same crew that we have here will be out there together. Are we having a cigar?
Later, whenever.
Okay, we're gonna have it here.
This one's mine. You can have whatever you want.
Okay. I'm just wondering. So,
Gosh,
So, all right, what else we want to talk about, fellas? I've got some great thoughts here, but I want to open it up to anything you guys want to talk about. Anything on your mind? I know. I got the giggles when I said fat shaming, but that's mine and your platform because we just don't tolerate it.
Yeah. That's all. It's all good. Yeah. I'll just say that man, I am so freaking elated to be back in the company of. I mean, when I saw Scotty Miller today, I was like, oh my god, because it's been a long time, and Norm the same. I mean, it's been forever. I keep up with Royce on Soch, and some of the other guys, and Dutch and I are thick as thieves, but I still haven't seen him in more than 2 years. 3, you keep saying that, but I think it's fewer than that. But yeah, and I've got like, brief stories about every one of these.
And likewise.
right.
That's the counter, though. We all got some
likewise.
Slippery
stories.
Yeah.
Was it mutually assured destruction? I guess what the term is. For me, just to echo what Max said, I've said this before. You forget a lot of things you do, and they become fuzzy, but you never forget the guys you did it with. And I've always told my kids that that if I could give them one word of advice is to cherish the relationships you build along the way. And Scott qualified a little early, so authentic relationships. So there's a lot of people out there that have these superficial relationships, but you don't get relationships like we have unless you go through something very, very challenging and difficult, and you experience it with each other, and you build that trust, which the relationship is built on, and it becomes an authentic relationship, not just a casual one. And I don't think anybody in the world has a more authentic culture and relationships within that culture than our guys. And so it's just an honor to be part of it. I look back at this, and it's almost like a culmination of all the things that I've experienced up to now in my life. So it's really cool.
It's always a cool thing that I haven't seen you a couple of years, and before that it was at the hotel. I haven't seen you in a couple of years. You don't remember me at all. That's okay though. I haven't seen you.
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast.
He was one of the big guys that would.
Yeah, we used to run that hand-to-hand scenario it was called the Looking for Mr. Goodbar scenario.
No, it was the black. I got to be careful how I say this. The Black Eye Saloon, not the Black Eye Saloon.
Right. But we used to when Dutch would come
right.
through. I was looking up the stairs, and I'd be basically the guys would be in the rooms waiting for the guy to come up to go through the scenario, and they would be, who is it? And our signal for Dutch was, I'd turn around and look at Eric Nunez, and I'd go like this, and he'd go, oh, yeah, okay, get strapped a headgear on, man. But
what I was gonna say was, it's always cool that we haven't seen each other in a while, come back together, and it's just like, hey, remember that last conversation we just had, and just go right back into it, right?
So what you got to know, this is. I think I spent more time on deliberate planning, ensuring these two were here, than I did planning the invasion in fucking Afghanistan.
Hell yeah.
You have to know it. They're like Norm and I talk a lot, and we are never in the same place at the same time, and we're always traveling. And to lock him down, and then once I freaking said he was coming, I'm like, we gotta have Scott here. And I was like, Norm, you got to fucking pressure him too. We got to both be hitting him as bookends, so he knows like this is gonna really fucking happen.
I was gonna come. You put together a group. I was coming. No matter what.
Got it. I mean, this group here, fuck, man. And I don't think I don't know if the rest of the people that are up here with us really know what's sitting here.
No,
I mean, I really,
no.
I really don't know from the.
It's probably pretty good.
Right.
So,
Right.
And you don't want them to know what's sitting here.
Well, even some of the people that have no military background, like when I kind of was talking about his intro before he got up and spoke, I got asked a question by somebody offline. They're like, "Is a 4-star pretty senior?" I'm like, fuck. Where do you even go with that?
So I spent
Where do you even go with that?
Years and years watching my friend Scotty Miller on the news, and I haven't seen him in so freaking long, and I'm like, I used to room with that guy in OTC, man. Or like on the UBRR. Oh man, I told this story so many times. So our version of the PT test, 5-mile run, you run perimeter road, and believe it or not, this guy could run like the wind.
A beast, a savage.
And
I
so
learned that
there was
lesson the
one
hard way,
5-mile
man.
run where I paced him to the turnaround. I was like, I'm going to do this, man. I'm getting that whatever. You were running 31s, you know, in the 5-mile, whatever it was. I'm doing this. And I made it to the turnaround.
That was a
point.
plan. We were going to stay together.
Right.
Yeah.
And that turnaround point, I was like, holy hell, he's keeping this pace up, bro. I can, and boom, now he's gone. I was like, well, I'm back to running at 34 and a half, which was still respectable for, you know, but whatever. But gone.
Today, you just hope you can make 40 minutes.
Right.
now.
Oh, shit, 40. I hope I can walk 5 miles.
So to be able to run across the range is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So no, and I just want you to know, Scott, that all of us here, the one thing you have to really know is that like I got 40 years of government service. You got, I think, more, right?
Yeah, probably a little less.
You're like on my 40-year list. There's this many guys that are on this hand that I'm like, you want to bring somebody in and talk leadership. You want to talk about bring somebody in that I fucking think was the ultimate leader at every fucking level of command. You're one of those guys. I hope you know that. I remember when you had the unit. I remember when you had a squadron. I remember when you were, you know, all the MACOMs going all the way up. And then to be honest with you, you have to know in the 160th community, when you were made, you know, Commander Afghanistan, there was a fucking big high five going on. There was a lot of people like, that's the right guy.
Well, that's because I got the little birds over there
Yeah,
too. They wanted to get in the fight. They wanted to get in the fight, so I pulled them over there. Figured out a way to get them over there.
Yeah, but no, I mean, kudos to you, and then kudos to you on a bigger front of remembering where you came from and being able to still sit at the table with guys like us and fucking open up and show up here and stuff like that, because I do know some other guys that have achieved your level of success and they don't even take phone calls anymore. And it's a shame, because I had a closer relationship with them than I even did with you. And it's one of those that I just appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate how you have stayed in touch with the people that you've worked with over decades.
You know, you just said something there that kind of jumps out at me. And first of all, thank you. Okay, and is a little over the top, but thank you.
Not really.
You know,
Not really.
This piece you said, it's probably when you're thinking about what advice you can give people that are, let's just say, moving into different organizations in the military. Don't ever forget where you came from, and I think that's. You know, regardless of your rank or anything else, just don't forget where you came from. And if you can remember that, I think that means a lot. And you guys know, I got a, you know, most senior warrant sitting to my left, but I think you guys know what I think about the non-commissioned officers. One, the talent, the foundation, and I've often said, you know, all your mentorship doesn't come from the top down. Oftentimes, if you're willing, and most are, but if you're willing, you're going to learn an awful lot from the people who are
100%.
Yeah, especially the non-commissioned officers. So
Absolutely.
and also from your jiu-jitsu coach. Okay, Royce, just I want to let you know that.
That's right.
But my father, I asked him after the first UFC, I called him up and I asked him how to deal with this, with the fame they're going to come with it. And he said exactly the same thing. Don't forget where you came from.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's good to hear from you.
Well, I mean, it's you know, Bruno kind of brought it up, but that's I think that's important for all of us as we you know go, not only just go through our military service, but you go through life. Just remember where you came from.
You know, the one thing about being a warrant officer that was pretty cool. So I went up through all the enlisted ranks and then made the change to warrant. I'll be honest with you, I said my whole career that if they would have let me fly as a sergeant major instead of being a warrant, I would have, until I got to the end of my career and I looked at what a senior warrant made versus a sergeant major, and I was very happy for that move. But and now I can just give it all to my ex-wife, but that's another story. But the one thing I loved about being a warrant officer was that I could sit at the table with an E2. I could sit at the table with a squad leader. I could sit at the table with a troop sergeant major, a squadron commander, a CG, or a combatant commander, and as a senior warrant, I was never out of place. The warrant can operate at every fucking level, and it was a really special rank to me because you're the subject matter expert, is what I get paid to be, and I could talk at any fucking level and operate at any level. I didn't know how to talk to this man versus a Ranger squad leader. There's a fucking huge difference in delivery, but I honestly thought it was the coolest rank in the world because of that I could be at any table in the military and fit. And you know, I guarantee you, tell me I'm wrong, I guarantee you that you had to close doors with your staff at times and tell them, no, stop telling what you think I want to hear. Tell me the fucking truth, right? I mean, I know you built the right team, but yeah, so you have the right team, they're going to do it. But at some point in time, you get so senior, you're sitting there, you're like, are you telling me all this because I want to hear it? Or is this what
By the way, a quick question, because you just mentioned somebody, and I just, again, I'm kind of going down memory lane here. Was Wally Fox one of your? Yeah. So Wally, for the audience, Wally was killed in an a crash. But there's some guys over there that I could go in there and the ground element can sometimes be obstinate about how they want the op to go, and they're going to tell the aviators how the op is going to go. But I can recall Wally Fox. It was an exercise you and I were on. I think it was down at Fort Benning. He was a flight lead for that. But I remember him sitting down and basically running through a course of action for us and laying it out for us. And we went with his course of action. But it's you just talk the warrant officer. You're the only one sitting in here, but the warrant officers of 160 are also quite special.
it is a different
as well as the
animal.
entire crew. But
Yeah. It's a different animal, and I will say I'm glad you said that because it's a crew served weapon. Um, there's it I just to give you a perspective on it. I talked about team building earlier. What I used to do, I'm talking about on national missions. I picked my tail number that I was going to be the flight lead by because that tail number came with a flight engineer and a crew. And I picked a tail number that I knew I was never going to fucking bump. I was not going to break on crank, that the fucking guns were going to sing and be on target, that everything in the airplane was going to work. And it was one of those that I can tell you that if you look at military aviation, so many guys come out of the fucking sky because of maintenance and stuff like that. And I never fucking sweated it in the 160th, and we flew in the most god awful shit. And there's nothing any 160th warrant ever did without the enlisted guy. Like those aircraft were armed, fueled, and everything by those guys. And I mean, look at Little Bird crew chiefs. They don't even get on the aircraft. They fucking make it run. They arm it. They do everything with it. And they salute the pilots, and it leaves. But man, that's your lifeline. I mean, it doesn't come apart on you and all that shit. It's a crazy trust you have with those guys. And when I first, when you're a career enlisted operator and then you get into aviation, man, do you have to rethink the way you deal with shit because it's even the fucking guy that works on your radios, he's that important because a flight lead without 7 fucking radios is not a flight lead anymore. So it's a great point. I appreciate you saying that.
No, but I just remember that again. Wally just jumps out at me as that guy who was.
Yeah, that was a horrific loss.
It was in the '90s.
It was. I was there. It was basically the aircraft iced over, and they went in on us. Here's the crazy part: it was an assessment flight. They were assessing a guy to come in the unit, so it was 2 flight leads in the aircraft. Wally was the instructor pilot giving the check ride, and Pierre DeRoche was the flight lead in the jump seat. And not a good thing happened that night. We lost 2 guys. But the crazy thing about Wally Fox, in the deep dark secret of the 160th, was everything was in his head. Nothing was written down. And when he went in the ground, I can tell you the unit was set back 3 years. The unit didn't even know how to sling the speedboats once he was gone because all the special procedural shit was never written anywhere. So a guy named Chuck Gant came in, call sign Wagon, and the first thing he did was look at everybody and go, Bruno, you're writing the TFTA fucking, and we wrote a fucking regiment SOP that took 2 years to figure out what Wally Fox had in one noodle. So yeah, huge loss. But and we've all had them, right? We've all had those guys that were fucking legends that started something, and did we ever get everything out of their brain? Probably not. But lessons learned there. What do you think, man? Any other thoughts going around the horn?
No, just relationships, man, and authentic relationships. And again, looking at all you guys sitting here today brings back a lot of great memories. And I'll never forget you guys. I may forget a lot of stuff we did, but I won't forget you guys forever.
So can I ask you a question on the business side? What's new coming from Hooten and Young that we can talk about? This is coming out
yeah,
pre-shot.
So I can't give you a date, but I'm going to give you a promise that we're going to do a Night Stalker for you.
Did you hear that, folks?
So we're going to do it. So
all right.
so
So Norm and I have been talking about this.
But again, I'm not. I don't want to be a guy that hijacks somebody else's culture. I want you guys involved in the design and the selection of the cigar, and then and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, let's do it 100%. And you know, I've been pushing for this for a while. Norm and I did something really special. I want to share this with you. We did so our first podcast we did in my studio back in Virginia Beach, but the second podcast we did in the Navy SEAL Museum down in Fort Pierce, Florida. And we did it in front of a Black Hawk that was actually used on a hostage rescue that I helped the SEAL Museum get. And we did, it was a really cool podcast to be in the SEAL Museum, two fucking Army guys doing a podcast there. And we were doing the same thing.
Rick Kaiser.
Yeah. So, and if everybody doesn't know the name Rick was a Red Squadron sniper that was in Mogadishu with everybody. But I did the podcast there for the same reason, was to bring awareness to the SEAL Museum, to get more people to visit it. The same reason we're here at the Sawmill right now, to let people know about this badass range that's here. But this is something that, and it's the brotherhood thing. Rick Kaiser reached out to me about 2 months ago, and they're expanding their memorial garden. So they are going to put a brick for every lost Night Stalker in their garden. So,
yeah,
cool.
That's another point I just want to bring up. I had a good discussion with Rick when I was down there, and sometimes they're out of sight, out of mind. We don't reach across service lines to our brothers on the in the Navy or Air Force or whoever it may be, and that bothered me to hear that. He goes, man, nobody's ever invited us to an event or anything like that. So I'll make it a point now to try to reach out to those guys because they're part of it, and they're part of our authentic relationships as well.
Yep.
So important to do that. And I know it's sometimes you don't think about it because after the job's done, they go their way, we go our way. But when you get to be my age, 5 years, 6 years, as the further we get along in life, those things start to become important.
It's like tomorrow.
Yeah, start to become important. And I just anytime I get a chance to reach out to them,
that's a solid Rick Kaiser. Yeah, that whole crew, but
Yeah,
is
super
solid.
Rick
but
is
Rick
awesome.
Kaiser,
and I like to
yeah.
poke fun at him as much as the rest of us.
And he gave a lot to the community as well.
He did,
for many years.
Yeah, just so you know, one thing cool about Rick, little story. How did the Army guy end up with the Navy? Everybody knows my last position on active duty was as the 160th liaison to those guys. And when I retired, Rick came up to me, and I was going to do something different. I was going to go either go fly for Dillon Arrow and teach people how to fucking shoot miniguns, or do something else. And Rick's like, hey, we need to keep our Army guy. You can't go. So they made me. I ran the operations. That I was in the operations cell that ran all the active duty L&Os and everything like that. But Rick was my boss. So when I became a government civilian, Rick was my direct supervisor. And I'll tell you right now, this was his guidance to me. Bruno, do what the fuck you do. You don't have to ask me for anything. Let's go. And when Rick left and went to the museum is when I said it was time to go do something else. And that's when I took the urban training program over, and I went from ops to training. But Rick, and for those that know Wyman Howard, the only two reasons I went there. Wyman was like, you've got to come. So I did it. But great man. I love what the SEAL Museum's doing. Matter of fact, Born Primitive, we just, their demonstration team that they do, we're completely outfitting their demo team just so they have the right looking uniforms on them. And another thing that so the Navy, I forget what, 2 of the squadrons in their team rooms have cut in the bar thing for the 160. It's a relationship forged in blood, and I'll never forget that. Right. But
That's an authentic relationship.
that's an authentic relationship, right? And we all know it, right? But Rick is one of those ones that calls me up last year, and he's like, "Hey, we're doing our annual muster at the museum, and we'd like you to come down and speak."
Is
And
that the same thing as like a formation or something?
so their annual muster is a reunion. So and the guys at Damn Neck call it the stump muster because they meet at the stump where the command was originally at. So they have their formation, they do a demo and all this stuff, but he asked me to be a guest speaker. And I'm like, Rick, I've known you 20 years. You know I'm not a frogman, I'm an Army guy. He goes, no, we want you to come talk about flying us. And I'm like, wow, this is cool that they just perceive the organization that way. So I just love that. Just good people. So we're gonna make the Night Stalker cigar. That's on tape, which means it has to
we're
happen.
gonna do it. I'm gonna test. Call Courtney. He'll call me.
Okay.
But we're gonna get it done.
Courtney's awesome. And for what it's worth, the current regimental commander, Steve Smith, would absolutely love to have a
Yeah, I
Night
don't
Stalker
want to
cigar.
step on any toes.
No, no,
So when we did Neptune Spear, I made sure that actually had a couple guys reach out and say, "Hey, man, why don't you do one like this?" So we did it. But that's your guys. So
Yeah, we'll take
it's
care of
important that you guys are part of it. And
Take care of it. We'd love to do it, and I think it'd be cool to do something to kick it off, and we can take care of that. Okay. What about you, Scotty? Any?
Nah, I go back to where I started. It's quite the gathering of some friends,
good memories.
over time. And so thanks for setting this up here, and everybody off camera as well. My thanks to them. But Bruno, thanks for doing this.
Thank you, and I hope anything we can do to fuel you, because we know you're out doing stuff at much higher levels.
You just call me, I'll come. Okay, I'm not that busy. Okay, I mean it's a plane ride. And,
The only time you call me is when you need jeans.
yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Right. Which, by the way,
And they're great jeans,
I'll give you
man.
a call tomorrow. Yeah, we
And
like
they're
you. We like
awesome
the
jeans.
Yeah,
by the way.
We'll do a pitch.
That's
for,
a plug, yeah.
Born Primitive blue jeans.
Yeah, anybody needs blue jeans or Recon
And this-
jeans, dark wash. They
Tommy,
may
you've
work.
heard
Hey,
that,
Dutch
right?
25 gets you 25% off.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You can still order them before Christmas,
That's
too,
right.
right? Yeah.
Dutch, what about you?
Final thoughts, yeah. Echo what the general said. Memories and bringing folks together, relationships. Also, what Norman said. Just super cool to bring a bunch of experience here. So you mentioned that before. I still kind of run one. I want to run the numbers. How many years total service?
20 years, 20 minutes.
How many years total service?
38, 39.
We're at 59. Everybody else, right? How many years total service? 40. Yeah. So now we're at what? 99?
99.
Yeah.
31. So 130.
22.
152 years of military federal service.
Hoist has got honor.
And then there's
Right.
combat
I feel like the
service on
fly
top
on
of
the
that.
wall.
I mean, it's just it's
You got to add
kind
up
of,
his range time. It's probably close to that.
it's kind of freaky, right? It's kind of freaky, mind-boggling, right? And think about it, how much you've seen, done, been. Just amazing stories. I look forward to every one of your books. All right. So also, I want to talk about. I want to shout out to my people. I want to shout out to Eric Carr, Tom Flynn, Jeremy Thomas, Mike Carter. Those are the guys that run the sawmill, along with my help on occasion. But those are the guys that run the sawmill. Thanks for Joby and John for the leadership and all this stuff that's happened. Things have been really good for this change we've had. So we're looking forward to new cooperation / collaboration. With Born Primitive. Of course, we have Almar here, Fabrique Nationale, right? That's FN America out of Colombia. It's 250 acres. It's a 1,400 yard range. It's half gaff. And if I'm speaking strange language to you, just look it up. You can do half gaffs here. You can do riverine operations. It's a place where you need to come and visit. If you're a civilian, you want to learn something, you come here. If you're a law enforcement agent, there's at least 4 times a year we do stuff for free. There's all manner of things you can do here, and we appreciate those members that are here. Or their patronage too is fantastic. And I really want to thank you for doing this. I mean, I know we talked about it. You talked about it with Dan Horner a couple years ago. That we talked about it at Virginia Beach, and it's really turned into something super cool and special. Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for bringing on the heavyweights, man. It's really good to see people.
Royce?
I'll let him go first.
No, you go.
No, he go first. I'm just the.
No, you're
go
not.
ahead.
Hey, you are in
Go
this
ahead,
circle.
you're in the
Dude,
line,
You're
bro.
in this fucking
Don't
circle.
put me on the spot. I
I'm
got to
just-
think
No,
about
no,
what
you're
I'm
not
gonna
just
say.
anything.
I'm just thankful to know you guys and all the experience that I learned in the building with you guys, man. All the adventures, all the jumps and tunnels and all the old courses and man.
Do you know the
The rat
reciprocity
maze.
here of how we feel towards you, every single guy sitting here, what you have brought to our communities?
But
So it's the same, brother.
I'm a big fan of you guys.
And
man.
we're a big fan of you. And I'll tell you right now that probably you might be a little more name recognized than the majority of the guys sitting here. So we're kind of big fans of yours too, my friend, and everything you do. And for those that have seen you on my podcast and this podcast, hopefully you see the ethos of this man. Fucking, if you want to talk about a humble warrior, this is the man right here. And I love it. I love the fact that you just talk small but carry that big fucking stick. so yes, sir. K-Mac, what do you got?
I don't like to go anywhere. I want to stay at home, work in my garden, work out, fish, shoot freaking shoot arrows, that kind of thing. I told my wife, when you sent me the invite, I said, I'm going to be with these guys right here. And I was a kid in a candy store. I was just free. And she was so excited for me. And seeing as how it's a podcast, may as well, say tune in
Go ahead.
to Mr. Mustavio's World of Wonder, where it's cool to be curious and where we will explore our world. Because we got to promote, I mean, come on. But thank you, Bruno, for putting this together.
Yeah, man. I love having you. I will tell you this, that I never ever had more DMs after a podcast than this man right here. It was because of that.
Dude, we went freaking
It was because of how fucking crazy we went on personal trainers and fat shaming.
COVID.
The crazy part about it is I can put a video on of guys doing CQB, skydiving and our shit, whatever. You get the fucking haters. I don't think I had one fucking hater. I think everybody was like, "What did you feed this character?" So, no, so.
And now I know the history of Mr. Mustavio. That's it's got another story to it.
Oh, yeah.
You do know the history, right?
I know that.
It's kind of cool, right?
Well,
Yeah.
It's also
Yep.
a mutual acquaintance.
Mutual acquaintance kind of relationship thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
kids, my neighbors started calling me Mr. Mustavio.
Well, I'll say this: Dutch stole a little bit of my thunder about thanking the whole Sawmill crew and Dan Horner. But I'm not done there. So I will say we got a lot of people sitting here off camera that have come in and worked hard. The one group that has not been recognized yet is our media company, Flagship Media. If you look at our anthem video, our Memorial Day video, and some of the high-tech videos we've done, these guys produce it. Something that's pretty cool. We just signed a contract with them for 2026. They are doing all our high-end media for next year. I'd like to say we wrote them a big fat check, but they fucking earned every dollar of it. And I love the relationship and the fact that they're Virginia Beach local. The only way I can describe working with these guys as a media company is if you think about when we are planning a mission and doing rehearsals, that's how these guys are. They're in my office. We're doing terrain walks. We're doing fucking timelines. We're doing IPRs. It is insane. These guys are the men. I've never worked with a better media company. So thank you, Flagship. Sawmill, of course, thank you. Dan Horner, thank you. Before I thank the guests up here individually, I want to announce a couple things because of when this is coming out. So I already talked about the knives we're doing with Almar, the knife and the hatchet, and that will be a Shot Show. But here's even a bigger announcement, a bigger partnership, and it's the first time it's being announced. Next year, 2026, the end of July, Born Primitive, Almar, and the Sawmill are running a national SWAT competition at this location. I have had over 55 SWAT teams tell me that they're very unhappy with the last 3 SWAT competitions they've gone to. And we're going to fucking fix that. And we're going to run one here that's based on standardization. And it's going to be modeled, I will say this, off of the way TTPOA does it in Texas, because they do it right. And we're going to have a good East Coast one. The other thing that we're doing right back up to that is we're hosting the first ever Patriot games here. So we are going to have a 5-day spread with a national SWAT competition and a Patriot games at this location that the 3 brands are going to put on. Last week of July, first week of August, and I'll tell you, you guys have heard me say it, stand the fuck by. It's going to be a game changer. To my guests that are here, just going around the table, each and every one of you is someone that I think that I hope people listen to this podcast understand what you have done for America, understand that the men you are, the ethos you are. It's, you know, guys, I hate this term, but I'm going to use it. It's one thing to be a fucking commando, but it's another thing to be a great American. And these guys are great Americans. It is an ethos that you don't understand until you live it. It is a give that never stops. And these guys don't stop. And the fact that I can reach out to these guys and say, hey, I want you to come to the middle of South Carolina and freeze your nuts off while Dan Horner elevates our shooting game. But it's really more about friendship. And they all showed up. And I love that. So thank you all very much. I'm going to put you all on the spot and tell you that we need to have something in 2026 that's not SHOT Show, since he isn't going to be there, that we can all reconvene and get together. And I will be happy to facilitate it because I love bringing people together. And I think what we need to do is think about who's not at this Knights of the Round Table and who else do we add to this. There's a couple other names that I know I'd love to bring in here that we all know. So think about that. And if you guys are at home and you're like, Bruno, ding, 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 I have the idea. Anybody that knows me, the anal flight lead comes out. If it's within 90 days, you're not on my page. So let's start looking out at summer and
You adjust. If it's
Yeah.
in the 90-day
Fuck yeah.
change window.
if it's in 3 hours, I'll do it. But but let's put this together right. And that's what we did here, right? This is a machine put together right. For those that listen to the next podcast we're going to do, it'll be taped tomorrow night, but it'll be aired the day SHOT Show starts. It's going to have a much different focus. It's going to have a much more shooting mindset ethos flavor for the people that I'm bringing on it. But any final comments before I close this out? Anybody last minute comments? Nope. Anybody out there in the audience want to yell a question to us? Anything we didn't talk about you want to hear about? Cool.
See, that's a whole other thing. You could open that up. You could open it up to social.
Yeah. I could have,
Next podcast.
would have.
Next time.
So I'll let you know one we are doing that you guys are going to have a little fun with. This is a result of training with San Antonio SWAT and posting a video of them doing CQB and some of the comments that came up about it. And I'm sorry for some of the fucking video gamers that had to interrupt their Call of Duty to pick on San Antonio SWAT. But I will say this, I'm hosting a podcast in 2 weeks that is going to be a couple of also former operators. And we're going to take these little comments that came up on Instagram and put them on the big flat screen behind me. And we're going to address these people of Instagram and let them know how we feel. So we're going to do a whole podcast on that. But anyhow, I just want to, yeah,
Or you could do something else.
You could be the comment.
I could have a lot
no,
of
we
fun with
actually
that.
want to call these people out because some of the shit is so worthy of calling out. And I might have to have phone a friend. I might be like, what do you have to add to this?
So I kind of want to see.
Just let me know when you do it. I'm gonna be on my keyboard.
Okay, yeah, please do. And we're the fun thing that's going to be about is it's going to be Instagram Live. So it'll be a live opportunity for people
See how that works.
to weigh in. But anyhow, everybody, thank you for tuning in. This is by far the most elite group of people you could ever assemble on a single podcast. So thank you for tuning in. God bless America. Thank you for watching the Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. Have a good night.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Hot Wash by Born Primitive Tactical. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow us at Born Primitive Tactical. I'll see you next time.